Hello, my name is Dr. Neil Benson, and today we're here to talk about nutrition. We talked about how the small bowel takes the nutrients out of the foods that we eat and the importance of eating a variety of different foods that have the nutrients we need. But not all foods provide the nutrients that we need. We have to rely on the large bowel flora to give us things like B vitamins and biotin. And if we are going to be benefiting from the bacteria that live in our gut, the question must be asked, how can we benefit the bacteria? Foods are, by definition, described as either of three groups. Either the food is digestible by us, and we get the benefit of the nutrition, and that would be things that are absorbed out of the small bowel. Then we have two types of foods that are not absorbed out of the small bowel, and they're called insoluble and soluble fiber. And by definition, the fiber passes straight through our digestion and makes its way to the large bowel. In order to feed those bacteria, there is a distinction between the insoluble and soluble fiber. Insoluble fiber, the bacteria in the gut can't break down in the large bowel. The bacteria are unable to break down things like bran or the casing that goes around a corn kernel. And you've probably noticed that if you eat corn, that if you look at your poo the next day and you go, there's corn in that. Well, that's because we couldn't break it down. So basically it's passed right through. That's what insoluble fiber does. It gives us a bulky poo, but it doesn't feed the good bacteria. What we're after to feed the good bacteria is to eat soluble fiber. And soluble fiber is predominantly found in green vegetables. So going from that realization of how green vegetables are good for us, I'm now going to talk to you about the healthy plate diet. The healthy plate diet is based on your main meal of the day. If you eat your main meal in the morning, then this would apply. Lunch and dinner is the same. Most people, it's their dinner. And I like to think of it as being the dinner plate, because that's certainly when I eat most of my food. The diet is very reliant on eating a lot of green vegetables. Green vegetables are very important, as we mentioned already, because the soluble fiber is contained in that, and that feeds the beneficial gut bacteria. So by eating lots of green vegetables, we're feeding the beneficial gut bacteria who are beneficial to us by producing the vitamins, predominantly the B vitamins, some neurotransmitters such as serotonin, and also they keep other things out of the gut that we don't want there. We also need protein in our diet. Protein is found in different things depending on how you eat your diet. If you're a vegan, basically you're restricted to beans and nuts and seeds. And while that is perfectly fine, just make sure that if you are a vegan that you eat sufficient, that 1/4 of your plate is beans, nuts, or seeds. If you're a vegetarian, you've got some dairy foods that you can increase, add into the diet. Whereas if you're a meat eater, you've obviously got a much larger range of foods that you can eat. No matter what your choices are, remember to have 1/4 of your plate as protein, whether it be from the plant world or from the animal world. The final quarter is dealing with carbohydrates. At the end of the day, all carbohydrates turn to sugar, and we don't want to have too much of that in our diet. It's fine to have a little bit. And what I recommend is that you keep it to 1/4 or less of your plate. And of that, you should include an orange vegetable. Orange vegetables have beta carotene in it, and beta carotene gives it the orange color, and it can be broken down into 2 molecules of vitamin A. If you're a person who has bumpy skin on your shoulders or your legs, called keratosis pilaris, it means you aren't eating enough of that vitamin A, and either you're not eating it or you're not absorbing it. So you might want to add a little bit more of that to your diet. You'll notice I haven't mentioned fruit in there. As a general rule, try to keep fruit relatively low in your diet. Have a couple of pieces a day, pieces that are the size of your fist. So if you're a parent, it doesn't mean that you should be giving your child 2 bits of fruit the size of your fist as an adult, it means you give it to the child that they have 2 bits the size of their fists. And that's because we want to limit the amount of sugar. There are better fruits than others. The berries are lower in sugar, and I would recommend that you do that rather than the high sugar mango, watermelon, and those sorts. It's fine to have a little bit of those, but don't make them a huge part of your diet. Thank you.